Okay, so Susan, you also discovered in doing some more research over the Social Security.gov site a document that's in PDF format that explains how or what an individual should expect when applying for their Social Security card. It's the link, of course, is going to be provided in this post. However, if you would, share with folks exactly what the Social Security Administration states when an individual is applying for a Social Security card for the first time.
Well, it tells us about the application that you have to fill out, which is called an SS5. And this particular form that I'm looking at is still on the website. And what is really interesting to me is it says, note, if you are age 12 or older and have never received a Social Security number, you must apply in person. So what that means is Barack Obama, who allegedly got the Connecticut Social Security number in March of 1977, when he would have been 15 years old, he would have had to go from Hawaii to Connecticut to live there and apply for and receive a Social Security number. It's from there.
When you say that he had to go to Connecticut, you mean he would have physically had to have had an address or walked in a door in a Social Security office in the state of Connecticut to be able to secure or obtain a Connecticut Social Security number.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean, and he would have needed to have documents with him to prove his age, identity, and U.S. citizenship. You know, it also goes on to say her current lawful work authorized immigration status. But since he says he was born here, he would have had to have his birth certificate and one other document to prove who he was, and he would have had to be there in person.
Well, then that takes care of that little nugget of information.
Yes, it does.
Okay, now moving right along, we also...
I mean, people want to say that, you know, his mother, his father, a relative, somebody got it for him. Here's and it's still on their site, so it still must be the rule that you have to apply in person.
Again, it says if you are age 12 or older and have never received a Social Security number, you must apply in person. So, and that also goes back to the conversation I had with the Social Security Administration locally a couple of weeks ago when I called them to ask them some questions with regards to Social Security numbers, that when I was born, I did not apply for my Social Security card until I was 16, maybe 15, 16, just before I got my first job. And the person that I spoke with at the local Social Security office shared with me that that would be a rarity in today's time, primarily because the kids, when they are born, most of them are given Social Security numbers, you know, within those first couple of years, because their parents, in order for their parents to be able to claim them on their tax returns, they have to have a Social Security number.
Yeah, it's not a matter of most of them get it. They all get it. They all get one before they leave the hospital. They have to fill out the paperwork.
Who knew? I did not know that. That should tell everybody. Don't have any kids.
I have grandchildren.
Yeah.
I've been this way when my children were young, because they didn't get them until they were older. I think I was 14 when I got mine. But when they started requiring the Social Security numbers on the IRS forms, that's when they made it mandatory.
Huh. Well, and like I said, that's certainly what the gentleman shared with me when we chatted. Now, we also have another document that you have discovered or has come your way.
It says that since since 1972, Social Security numbers have been issued centrally, and the area number and Social Security numbers assigned since then correspond to the residence location of the applicant as indicated on the application for the SSN, which means where you were living when you applied for it is where it is assigned to you. So again, he would have had to have been living in Connecticut to get the number that he is using. And since he was 15, I don't think so.
So, the Hawaii number begins with...
I believe it's 585.
Let me see, I'm looking... It's 575. Yeah, 575, 576.
His half-sister starts with 575.
And then Connecticut is 040 to 049.
Right.
So let me make sure that I understand all that you've shared with us today to give us an update. Is first, we now have narrowed down the time in which this Social Security number would have become or come into the possession of Barack Obama, and that would have been sometime in March of 1977.
Yeah, it would have been March 77.
Okay, so his number, 4425, is sandwiched between a Mr. Thomas Wood, who is deceased, and this Mr. Michael Graziano, who is also deceased, indicating that the number in which Obama has in his possession and has been using for 25 years was received or handed out, assigned, whatever word you want to use, sometime in March of 1977. So we now have that confirmed. Now, moving right along, you also wrote a letter to the Social Security Administration to make sure that you documented and you created a paper trail showing that you, as a private investigator, was making a formal request of the Social Security Administration to look into this peculiarity that is surrounding this number that Barack Obama has and has been using for 25 years. And you received a letter stating precisely
that they disagreed with my conclusion.
And they cited no code, they cited no law, they cited nothing. They just simply said they disagreed with you. Okay. So now with Social Security Administration...
I sent it to the Department of Justice too, but they never responded.
We've now narrowed the application when any individual who is applying for a Social Security number before the age of 12 has to appear at a local Social Security office in person in order to attain that Social Security number, in order to apply for a Social Security number, correct? Yep. Okay.
If you were 12 or older, you must apply in person. He would have been 15 in March 77.
So he would have had to secure this Connecticut Social Security number, he would have had to have walked in to a Social Security office in the state of Connecticut, and he would have had to have shown that he had an address in Connecticut, because the second historical document that you have brought to our attention is that the resident location of the applicant has to correspond to, has to correspond to the numbers that are assigned.
And it would have had to be there for a while because they then, I believe, mailed these things out. I don't know that they gave them to you immediately, but it would seem reasonable that you would take your application in, they would look it over, look at your supporting documents, and then send it to you. He was in high school in Hawaii. I can't see him flying to Connecticut, establishing a residence, and applying for the number there.
He was.
This doesn't compute.
No. I would agree with that. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add, Susan?
No, that's all I have for now.
Well, very good. Well, as always, the Tea Room appreciates all of the work you're doing. And all of the other individuals that are contacting you and privately sharing information with you. Just a huge kudos to all of you, and know that the Tea Room will continue to provide updates with the work you're doing, so that we keep a record that folks can refer back to, especially with the upcoming elections. So with that, I thank you so much, and everybody have a great day.
Well, thank you, Helen. I always appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.